Hi there. If you're looking to diversify your investments and add venture capital or early stage companies into your investment portfolio, I would say Republic.co is an interesting platform that you should consider. And I'm going to tell you what my personal experience has been with it, as well as laying out some pros and cons that will make you consider if this is the right platform for you in order to add venture capital investments into your personal portfolio. I've previously done an overview on Seed Invest, which is another platform where you can invest in startups and early stage companies, and you can find the link to that video right over here. It's good to have an overview of different platforms just to see what their pros and cons are when pitted against each other, and also it's good to explore both of those platforms or any others that you know of in order to see if there's any startups that you really like. And I'm going to say the term startups, I really just mean companies that are seeking funding on these platforms, but the reality is these are earlier stage companies that haven't gone public and haven't been around for maybe 20, 30 years like a lot of companies out there have, or a lot of brand names that we know have. Now, before I get into Republic.co itself, here are some brief words on venture capital investing in general. So venture capital investing is incredibly risky. You're investing into companies that are in an early stage or in a growth stage. Generally, these companies are not profitable, or they're in the very early stages of profitability in rare cases. These investments are riskier than usual because a lot of startups or early stage companies fail at the end of the day. Besides, the only ways to really cash out are if these companies are acquired by another company or if they become a publicly listed company. This means that you have to have a proper time horizon for these kinds of investments. You may be holding on to these investments for years and may not get a chance to cash out for a while. And because of how risky these businesses are, well, only a few of many investments in different early stage companies may actually give you the big returns you're hoping. The thing is, if you do happen to catch a company at a very early stage of growth and that company happens to be incredibly successful, you're looking at very exponential returns that a lot of other investments simply can't give you. If you've ever seen Shark Tank, it's essentially the same concept at a smaller scale. You're essentially an investor who is putting some money into a company that is seeking funding so it can keep growing, and in exchange you get a piece of the pie and hopefully very large returns in the future. And another disclaimer is that sometimes the best of the best companies don't actually have the need to list on crowdfunding websites such as Republic.co. If you really have an amazing product and you have the right networks, then a lot of big investors or big venture capital firms will come to you. So some people would make the argument that a lot of crowdfunding websites when it comes to venture capital aren't offering the best businesses out there. This is an incredibly valid argument worth considering, but at the same time, venture capital has increasingly become more accessible to investors with less capital. Websites like Republic.co are letting people get a piece of the pie for as little as $10 or $100. So we may also very well be seeing this kind of investing become slowly more accessible, and we may be in the middle of a change of paradigm. So with that being said, let's get into Republic itself. So Republic.co has been around for a while, and they actually have a lot of companies listed on them and a lot of different options when it comes to how to invest. You can do traditional venture capital where a company is seeking for extra funding and you get some equity in return. But Republic also offers deals in real estate, video games through its recent acquisition of Fig, and also cryptocurrencies. I like this a lot. If you're not looking for companies exactly, but you're really knowledgeable in real estate, cryptocurrency, or video games, you can find a different way to make money there. And the fact that Republic itself has been around for a while and has acquired different companies that were the original companies that had crowdfunded real estate or crowdfunded video games shows that Republic is a brand that is solid, that has been there for a while, and that will keep being here for a while. So something that I consider a big pro for Republic is simply that there's a huge breadth of investments. There's a lot of companies to choose from at any point in time, and if you're not into companies, you can find some real estate, some video games that you could find interesting. And something that makes me incredibly happy is that most of these deals are actually completely global. It's up to the discretion of these companies that are asking for funding, but most of these companies actually accept international investors. And if you're an international investor and you have any doubts whether or not these companies accept people from your certain country or nationality, well, simply go into the discussion part of a company's crowdfunding page and ask them directly. And I also really like that their investment minimums are quite low. They say you can invest with a minimum of $10, but in reality, most companies have a minimum of $100. Some have a minimum of a little more, and some real estate has a minimum of $1,000. That being said, the grand majority of companies will just require you to invest $100 at minimum. And the average investor in Republic.co usually puts about $100 there. I like low investment minimums because they really let you control the amount of risk you want to put on when it comes to a certain investment. If you really believe in the company, you can put as much as you want, But if you really want to limit your risk, you can put $100 in a couple different companies or only in one or two companies that you really like. There are also zero fees associated for investors when you invest in a certain company. The way Republic makes its money is it takes a certain percentage of the total funding a company has received. So the burden is put on the company, not on the investor, which is good for us. There's also an auto invest option. Essentially, you can put as little as $500 and divide it into subsections of 5 different companies where you're putting $100 in each. Or you can invest more and decide if you're still gonna section them by $100 or maybe you want to increase that minimum. I like this. You have a lot of control over just how much you're putting in this auto invest and just how much you're putting into each company that you auto invest in. So for those who want a less hands-on approach but still want early stage companies to be part of their portfolio, this is an excellent option, and it's actually better than the auto invest option offered by Seed Invest. And another small but important thing is that they offer a learning section where you can learn a lot about the terminology associated with venture capital, a lot about how to value companies, and more within the business. And the pages where you see the company details and offerings are very detailed, very well structured, have a great discussion section. The only thing that I don't like is that I see companies are often very light on documentation. I see in other websites that companies offer a wide range of documentation, which can include 5-year forecasts for the company or different financial statements from past years if they've been around for a while. In Republic, you're just usually going to see a Form C, which is a form that companies that are looking for funding file with the government. And these show some good numbers. They offer the last 2 years worth of financial reports and balance sheets. But this is not enough. Oftentimes I want to see the 5-year forecast. How much are these companies planning to grow? Sometimes you can find this in the discussion section because other people asked it, or you can ask it yourself. But at the end of the day, I like data, investors like data, and I want to see this information in a spreadsheet or in a document. And that's why I also believe your research in the companies you want to invest in has to happen outside of Republic as well. Google these companies, see how they're ranking, see how they're doing, see if there's any articles written about them. Start making a case for and against your investment to get a good idea of what you're getting yourself into. Just one form and 2 years worth of financial statements may very well not be enough. That being said, the discussion section is still a really great resource when you want information from the founders of the company directly. I've also seen quite a couple of deals in Republic that have companies that have 0 in assets, 0 in income, 0 in products sold, which is interesting because I've rarely seen this happen in other crowdfunding platforms that maybe have a stricter vetting process for getting companies on their platform. However, I can't really speak to the full extent of this as I don't know what Republic's criteria for vetting companies is, but this is just another point to hammer that you should read into the financials of a company before making an investment. I do like, however, that they have a very generous cancellation policy. You can cancel your investment a while after investing, and if the terms of the investment change, you actually have to reconfirm your investment or get your money back if you don't like what the terms of the investments are. I also don't like that there's mostly one type of offering. Most companies give you what is called a crowd save. SAVE is an acronym that stands for a simple agreement for future equity. I'm not going to get into detail into what that is, but basically in other crowdfunding platforms, some companies offer preferred equity or convertible notes or other types of equity that they're giving you in exchange for your money. If you're an investor who's putting a lot of cash into a certain company, you may want to research the differences between each because there are some advantages to having preferred equity, for example, where you cash out first. That being said, when you're making small investments of $100 at a time, I don't know if there's that much of a difference between a convertible note and a crowd save. So do I recommend Republic.co for people who are looking to add early stage companies to their portfolio? Kind of. I like Republic a lot. I've personally used it a couple times and I'm confident in the investments I've made in the platform. That being said, as long as the platform is legitimate, then the platform is second to the startup you're actually investing in. I think it's more important to be really confident in whatever company you're investing in than finding the right platform for it. However, Republic.co's standing as a company that has been around for a while and a company without investment fees for the investors is awesome. So if you find a company that you really, really like and it's listed through Republic, I wouldn't have any qualms at all with investing there. That is, of course, remembering that these investments are risky and there's a very high possibility that you may not see that money ever again. If you want to sign up for Republic, there's a link down in the description. And if you're interested in investing in stocks, then I can highly recommend Webull as your broker. Webull gives you 2 free stocks for signing up and depositing up to $100 with them. And my experience with them has also been fantastic. They also have 0 fees of any sort and a lot of great information within their app. So if you want to use Webull, there's also a link down in the description. With that said, I thank you so much for watching. If you like these kinds of videos and you want to learn more about venture capital, about investing in general, or saving money, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, and like this video. Do you have any experience with Republic or any other crowdfunding platforms? Let me know in the comments below. I'll reply to every single comment. So with that said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.